passed first. He passed April 4th, 2020. And I had just talked to him that Wednesday. Matt was 31 years old. And he was fine. He had 3 jobs. He was doing good. He bought him that 2001 Monte Carlo, straight cash. He had money in the bank. He was doing good. He's like, Mom, quit worrying about me. I was like, well, how you doing, Matt? Instead of mentioning anything, I was like, how's it going, Matt? Everything okay? You ain't had no triggers, right? He's like, Mom, I don't want to talk about that. Mom, he get his voice real deep, and he's like, we don't need to go back there. And I was like, I just worry sometimes, I'm a mom. I just want to make sure you're all right, Matt. He's like, Mom, I love you. I'm fine. He said, you're a great mom. He's like, just quit worrying so much. I was like, I can't help it, Matt. I'm just scared, and this was a year before Mike. And then that Sunday of that Wednesday, which whatever date that was before the 4th in 2020, his landlord called me and they found him passed away in a sleeping room. And I couldn't go right then to the sleeping room, or couldn't see him because the police and everything was there. But when I went to the funeral home to talk to him about him, we're all sitting at this table, and I looked at the lady. I said, did my son just come in? Because I felt him coming in. She goes, yeah, how'd you know? I was like, I feel him. I said, can I please go see him? I just want to see him. She goes, well, you probably don't want to see him the way he looks. I said, I don't care. But they wouldn't let me. They would not let me see him. And Tim said his boots got real heavy when his brother came in. So we felt him coming in, me and Tim together. And then we made the funeral arrangements, and I didn't want to have him cremated. I want him buried because we're all, everybody's been buried in the family. But the money wasn't there, and it about killed me to have him cremated. So they let me go in there first and see him, and he looked so good to be passed away. I mean, he looked like he was asleep. I even tried to wake him up at one point in time just to make sure, maybe he's not, but he was, and that's just me wanting him to wake up. So I talked to him and I hugged him, and I was just pretty much doing everything I could to fulfill the last time I was going to see him. And then the family came in and everybody, I talked a little bit about Matt to them, and we all ended up leaving, but I ran back in there because I was scared. Because I told her, I was like, I just don't want him cremated because, I feel guilty to do that. Like, what if he wakes up? Francis, he's passed away, and I was like, well, I was a nervous wreck because, And then I waited 2 days and called to see if I could see him one more time because I think they said 3 days. Well, they had an open spot, and the day that I called was the day he was already being cremated. And I flipped out. And I was like, oh my God. And she said, we'll call you to come and get the ashes. But then in 2021 of September 8th is when Mike passed. So it was almost like not maybe close to a year apart of my boys. Mike was 38 years old. So that's how that went.